Not. So Brandon's birthday's tomorrow, huh?
Yeah, he's in Big Bear.
Fuck. I didn't
Did
get
the
it. I
smart
didn't.
thing.
I didn't get him any NMDs, man.
Oh, it's
I don't
okay.
even
I'll
know if
get him
he
some.
wears that. I don't even know what that guy likes.
I mean, for him, it's really just comfort. He's not too worried about style. So I mean, whatever's comfortable for him, that's what he's gonna wear. So he hasn't been graced with the comfort of
Oh,
NMDs yet.
NMDs yet? So it could literally change his whole existence.
Yeah, I had no idea what I was missing until I put them on, and I was like, oh, I get it. Now I'm like, yesterday I was like on East Bay looking up like all the different shoes.
Dude, and honestly, like, so me, I have the world's widest feet.
Mm,
And it's always been a struggle for me to, like, coming up, Nikes were the shit, right? So I would always try to
yeah,
wear Nikes, Air Forces, and all that, but I couldn't do it because I'm like a 10 and a half in length, and I
mm,
would need to wear 12, 12 and a half, and just look retarded. And I played basketball, so it was like, that's going to fuck me up. So when like I started wearing Adidas, like especially in lifting, I was like, oh, like these are nice and wide. I could really like
yeah,
breathe. And then when NMDs came out, it was basically because they're clothy.
yeah,
The width is a non-factor. Like you could
yeah,
literally just you put your foot in there, your shit's good to go. So that like literally
yeah,
changed it for me. And then I have like all the NMDs. Like that's like the only
yeah.
thing that I wear. So
I've seen it.
yeah, man. I have the same, and the weird thing is, like, whatever that bottom material is, I have the same. I wear these same gray ones, like as my work kind of like work shoe,
Oh, okay.
and it's
Yeah, yeah.
like they haven't like took a shit on me yet, so I'm gonna keep wearing them.
Do you watch comedy at all?
Aside from like Joey Diaz recently,
Okay.
not really. What was there?
So I would get you on to Tom Segura, who's
I
like
know who he
he's
is. Yeah, he's always on
yeah.
there.
Have you seen his most recent stand up? Okay,
But
so he
people
does
have put it in their story. Like it was so good that people were sharing it in their stories.
yeah. So he basically has this joke about like that Nike hit him up and they said like he would like because of his social media following he should probably like go visit them and he was in town for a show or something like that and
Nike
basically
hit
he
him
was
up.
yeah he was like so they gave me a number I called and then they were basically like who so then he was like fuck Nike and then he's like because Adidas hooked me up and then like since then Adidas has just been like sending him
Dude,
like just sending him gear.
I've heard a story like that before with Nike specifically, where
Yeah,
they'll even like schedule something and then they just like, oh, sorry, we couldn't make it. It's like I don't know, maybe Nike's just whoever runs the top of Nike is just so
yeah,
important that like they could never burden themselves with interacting with a human being in real life.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah. They're so beyond reality now.
Nike's
I
just
don't
too
I don't
important.
I, I don't get down with Nike. I'm now that you gave me the NMDs, I'm
Three, three
three stripe
stripe,
life.
three stripe boys. Seriously, man, they fucking discriminate against people with wide feet, so I can't wear their shit.
Yeah, I don't get down with them.
All right, guys, how's it going? As you can see, we're here, we're chilling. This is my buddy Mason. I have known Mason for like 5 years now.
Yeah,
He was at my first meet ever, and
first and first and second.
first and second, and it's funny that he was at the second, but I just remember him squatting 622, and that at that time I had like never seen that, and I thought he was just like, cause you're big, but you were not like as big as you are now, which
No,
is
I was
crazy to me, because you're smaller now than like you're like kind of like in off season, so you're just not as bulked up. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
it was like like so much can happen. That's one of the things about powerlifting, man. It just builds and builds and builds and builds, and over time you end up with like something that you never thought you would hit. You know.
yeah, yeah.
So, what are your best lifts so that we could do like a kind of comparison thing, and then
Right.
and then we could like talk about your first meet and what you hit then. Like,
Okay.
so what's your?
let's see. So current best.
We'll go wraps and no wraps.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. So current best in wraps is 804. I don't know my particular. I still don't. I've done them twice, so I don't know what I get out of them. I would say for me, probably about 60, 70 pounds.
I would agree. Which
I
ones
hit
do you use?
I use the first ones I used were by shit. The first time I used them, I probably went through 3 different wraps. It was like a broken in Inzer, and then it was a broken in something else, and then at the time when I was working with American Barbell Club, I was using their kind of like their stretchier pair, so their rebound pair, and then this past training cycle in meet, I was using the record breaking wraps by Slingshot. So
I love those. Even though I don't do wraps, I like
they're
those.
great.
Yeah.
They're great. Yeah, and then my best sleeved squat in a meet, I believe, was 694. I hit a fast 705 in here, probably at RP 7, maybe even an 8, like at the worst. In the future, I'm planning. I think now, if I really went for it, I'd probably hit like a 730, 750. But in the future, I'm going probably between June and September sometime. I'm gonna shoot for a 755, 766.
Have you hit 8 in wraps? 800?
Yeah, that was the last meet. Yeah, and then let's
damn.
see. Yeah, bench. My best, 2 best recently was a 501 in competition and a 425 by 7 or by 8, all paused in the gym, like following a couple weeks later.
Nice.
And then best deadlift in a meet. It's gonna be all over the place, but 771 full power, 782 deadlift only, and 800 for a double with straps. Yeah.
What did you hit when Russ was out here?
805 on a stiff bar.
That was the first time, right?
Actually, and that day I remember I thought about going home, and I was just like, I remember I was texting my girl and I was like, I'm not feeling too good. Like, I'm just not feeling it today.
And then the homies came through and you were like, I'm just trying 800.
yeah. The homies came through and I was on the Ohio Power Bar. I hadn't been on a stiff bar in maybe 6-7 months. And it just the bar felt good. The grip felt good. And the weight kept going up.
I will say that, so with the deadlift bar, and you could like interject at any point. Yeah. I feel like for somebody like me who I have a problem because in my deadlift, because like when I break the ground, I'm already so compromised, right?
Yeah.
But with the deadlift bar, like because you're like kind of almost stood up by the time the bar breaks the ground, it just helps me like so much. I can do so much volume on that bar, and I don't really get hurt. Yeah. I think for me, but on the stiff bar, it's like low back, just starting from the ground. But some people get destroyed by the whip. So maybe it felt good for you because you didn't have that whip. Like once you break the ground and you kind of slow down, then the bar goes like that, and that's when you see people kind of like fight it and shake. But I mean, I missed the deadlift bar. Who knows? I might be on it soon. Speaking of federations and bars. How do you like? Do you like the USPA? Like, I already know the answer. Do you like the USPA? Have you like, what can you see in the USPA versus like kind of what you get from USAPL? Although I know you haven't competed USAPL.
Right.
Basically, like, do you like the USPA and would you recommend it to a newer lifter?
I do like the USPA. I would recommend it to a newer lifter. I mean, that's what I got started in. That's what you got started in. Even a lot of people in USAPL, like Chance Mitchell, like pretty much everybody in here even has gotten started in the USPA and went to the USAPL. I think it's very because they have so many meets and there's a lot of
Tina.
John Hack. Fuck, Tina got started there. I didn't know John got started there. I know John's done them recently.
He did. Remember Rum? Do you
He
remember
did Rum?
He did Rum.
Yeah, I remember Rum. Shit.
He did. He did the
What was it
one.
like?
Damn it! Which it wasn't not the one that Jesse was at.
Yeah.
It might have been the one after. But I know it was like that
So
was
that's like,
a that was
I
a
think that was 9.
that was a good time for powerlifting. Dude, rum was like one of those meats that like
It was godly.
it was like the meat that you wanted to try to do because
Yeah.
it was like all the best lifters regardless of federation whatever would do and then like they changed management and it just like died.
Yeah.
Which sucked
Yeah,
because
unfortunately.
like I don't even know if they have it anymore. Like that's how
No. I actually know, actually on Facebook the other day, I think I'm in like a rum group, and it said something about it updated something, and I was like, oh, okay, I didn't know this was still going on, but all right. You know what I mean?
I think what's cool, and this is what I like about the Arnold is like you need to hit a goal to do it, and
Mm.
it's not like it's not like that easy of a goal, and
No.
it gets Arnold gets harder and harder and harder every year, so it's like fuck, like I don't know how many more I could do, you know. So you want to
Yeah.
keep training to get stronger to do it. Um, but yeah, man, rum is like now it's like I think John was telling me about like if you want to do the U.S. Open, the minimum that you have to hit is like some like for 220 it was like a good total, but I could totally do it, and
Yeah.
I was like I'd have to have a pretty decent meet, but I was like it'd be cool to shoot for it, but I mean, like I'm always gonna if he's competing, I'm never gonna do it. Like I'm just gonna make sure
Right.
he's good.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because like unless I were there's 2 days and I don't know I don't remember what the 2 days were for. I think is it 2 days? I don't even remember.
I think it's just one day.
Maybe
Maybe
it is
guys
two
and
days.
girls.
Yeah,
Maybe guys
maybe.
and girls. I think it's that.
I don't know. We had a lot of super strong girls. Is it maybe it was by
No, it
weight?
was it was 2 days because I remember the females competed the next day, and I remember everybody was pretty blown away. But I mean, people were blown away with what the males did, but I remember there was a lot of injuries, and then all of a sudden there was like high fives and low six Wilks the next day, and everybody was like, "Fuck, these girls came to like to put it down."
A lot of the girls were like insane.
Yeah,
Fuck, I don't I know that there's no wraps or sleep like it's all wrapped.
yeah, it's yeah.
And,
Majority of the people will go rap.
and
Yeah,
for those that have not done wraps is it's like way more technical and you have like a appreciation for it.
yeah,
But it's also like if you're really strong in wraps, I appreciate the technique and the time that you had to put in to get good at them because I had done it. I did the LA
yeah.
Fit Expo with it.
I remember. What did
Um,
you hit? 633,
Dude, back then I had 639, and
633
when I
minutes. Yeah,
fell, saw my opener, it was like the first opener I ever missed in a squat. I missed my opener because I came up so fucking fast. And so the warm up room we had like it was on like that very hard expo floor, right?
yeah,
And then once we
yeah.
go on the stage is like kind of bouncy.
Yeah, it
And
was a little springy.
yeah, and like if you drop your deadlift, you'll know like that shit's gonna fly back up at you. But I opened with 595 back in fucking like what was this 2015? Dude, it popped up on my Facebook recently. It was like it was
Oh,
like
that's
2 or
funny.
3 years ago. It was like
Yeah, yeah.
it was like 3 years ago because I know Scooby did it with me. It was me, Scooby, and God, what is his name? He has a crazy big deadlift. What's his name? No, not Charlie. Maybe Charlie. I don't remember his name. But it was a big white dude, and he died to make weight. Like he was like 270, and he died to make 242, and he fucked us up. But
I'm trying to remember who that is.
damn, I have him on Facebook. Like if I see him, we used to talk all the time. Like there's so many people that from that like kind of crowd that I just don't talk to anymore. But you know, just because we kind of like split off. But
Speaking of Scooby, he was actually in here last night.
really, I told him to come. When I
Popped
saw
up
him
out
at
of
the
nowhere.
expo, and I said, dude, just come through. Just shoot me a DM and we'll come train. I mean, I wouldn't have trained yesterday because of my rest day, but he kept asking me like so much about the gym, and I'm just like, just come. Like it's
Yeah,
literally just
yeah.
come. And for those that don't know, like at that time too, we used to before that meet, like leading up to that meet, we used to fucking go to bar. We used to go to Barbell Brigade on Sundays, and it was me. It was like me, you, Scooby, Greg, fucking
Adam,
Adam, Big Steve,
Big Steve.
Larry, and we would all go reps, and we would just max the fuck out. We would just go heavy, or like a heavy triple, heavy single, whatever. And like it was Bradley came a couple times. He came just to kind of like yell at us. But it was those are good times, man. Those are like that I had come from like training alone. I didn't even have IG, like back in the day, and then doing that, and it was nice to have, especially with raps. Like you want people there, you want someone to help.
100%.
Like I will not ever compete raps unless Adam can rap me.
100%. Yeah,
and
I
he's got
agree.
man mitts. He's got like these giant mitts. So I mean, you could do a decent self rap, but on meet day when you have someone rapping you, it's like so much better.
Yeah, it's a world of difference.
It hurts though, and you have to be like it does definitely takes a different kind of mental toughness, and it'll really teach you to like if your back is weak, you're gonna be exposed. I think for you it works really, really well because you already pull 800, so when you throw the wraps on, it's almost like, well, the legs are just gonna be super strong now, and it's like pretty much whatever your back can handle.
Yeah, it's pretty much just making sure, like, I have a good enough brace. If my brace is shit, then I'm gonna lose it. But it's like if I'm braced, I'm gonna come up with the weight.
And you squat like a high bar, mid bar ish kind of.
Yeah, I'm somewhere between. I used to be higher, and then it's moved down a hair, just because my grips moved out like a finger space. But it's still high bar. I'm pretty much high bar.
Did you used to compete in heels?
So initially, my first two meets were in flats. So both in chucks.
Chucks were like the shoe. That was like the shoe back then. Like that was
my first meet actually, I didn't even have knee sleeves. I was no knee sleeves. My second meet, I wore Tommy Kono knee sleeves, which were like,
I don't even know what that is.
the Tommy Kono is if you look him up, is like I think a Japanese Oli weightlifter, like legend.
I probably offended some weightlifter by saying that. I'm
Oh
sorry.
yeah,
I apologize.
but you. So what those like Everlast or Gold's Gym pouches that people Velcro they slap around there. That's essentially what a Tommy Kono knee sleeve is.
Yeah.
So like probably mid rep, they would slide down your knee because your knees would be so sweaty, and I'd like roll them up 1,000 times.
Yeah. You pull them up before each attempt.
Yeah, exactly. So initially, I was flats for 2 meets. Then I saw Brandon had a heeled shoe, and I was like, well, I'm going to take a look at these heeled shoes. I was in the same ones you had, the Audi trainers, right?
Those ones don't even exist anymore. I mean, no. That specific one you can't find anymore. Yeah. It's like it's like a weird heel height, but
0.5. It was perfect.
I think it's 0.6 now.
Yeah. Before it was 0.5, and that was perfect for me because, like, in general with high bar, that's what worked out for me. And it wasn't until I got rid of those shoes that I noticed what my issue was, because I've never had any ankle mobility issues. I've never had like an issue with like hitting depth ever, really. But I went from that 0.5 inch heel to because when I was being a powerlifting nerd, I started reading everything I could about shoes, right? And I saw a couple people's reviews for those shoes was that they would get a little spongy at like a certain weight, and I used them for about 3 or 4 meets. I competed at the Fit Expo with them. I think I hit a 650, but I always felt like
that meet you use heels.
Yeah.
For those, really quickly while we're on that, Dan Green did that meet, right?
Green, Brandon Lilly, Brandon Allen.
So Brandon Lilly.
That was Brandon Lilly's last.
He got hurt at that meet.
Yeah.
I was helping him put a singlet on, and I felt like when he got hurt, I was like, was I a part of this? Like you feel because you never seen it before.
Yeah.
And I just remember being imagine a young pup watching Dan Green and Brandon Lilly compete, right? Back in the golden age. You could say we're in a golden age-ish now, but like back then, it was just like fuck. And to see Brandon Lilly go up, literally snap both of his fucking knees, And Dan Green have to, the ambulance came, like they had to pull him off
Yeah.
and put him on the stretcher. So that whole shit was horrible. And Dan
Yeah.
Green was like, all right, my boy just went down. I'm gonna fucking man the fuck up and I'm gonna smash this 738 or whatever the hell it was. And it was like, and it was cool because like I was like, oh shit, Mason's going to head up with Dan Green right now, and you fucking held your own, man. I remember you had a good meet for you at the time, at 220.
Yeah. So,
was it 242 or 220?
220. So actually, I remember I was supposed to actually compete against Luigi, Alexei Olmachenko. You remember Alexei, right?
Yeah. So a lot of people don't know about him, but basically he like tripled 880. It's fucking absurd.
Yeah.
Rushing.
So I was supposed to compete against Alexei, Dan, Luigi, and myself. And at the time, Luigi, I think might have had a better total than me. I think I was ranked number 9 or something. He was like 7. So I went in. My whole thing with powerlifting is always going to beat my own numbers and to improve as an overall powerlifter. So that was always my goal. He wasn't even in mind.
Yeah.
At the time, I remember I was with somebody and they were like, "You need to beat this guy because But I was like, whatever. Anyway,
I just thought it was so crazy that you would even step to the god. Like at the time, I'm telling you, if you guys I don't know what it is about Dan Green lifting, but he just looks like a superhero. He's just he's not human. He's like a villain. He looks like
I think he's a centaur is what he is. He looks like if a centaur was a person, it'd be Dan Green.
So he goes up there and it's like everybody in the room stops what they're doing to watch what he's about to do. Even, even bench, even whatever. His deadlift especially, I just remember the room. It was like, in wrestling when they say The Rock is the most electrifying man. I felt in that moment, it's so hard to explain. Because you're just sitting there and you're like, this is an ungodly amount of weight. This is a fucking hellish amount of weight. This motherfucker is out here, his fucking... And you know how he does that thing where he'll grab the bar and he'll like kick his hips down and then fucking he'll whip it, dude. It was he pulls slack to the max. Basically.
What was crazy about that meet with Dan? I mean, fortunately for me, Dan went up a weight class.
Yeah, he ended up going to because Rum was the next week.
Yeah, Alexei got injured, so it was me and Luigi head up. But the crazy thing about Dan is I remember Dan broke Larry Pacifico's sleeve record that meet, and then 2 weeks later broke the 220 meet.
He broke it. He broke I know it was like a wrapped record in sleeves or something like that. Something fucking absurd. And he made the cut. Like he was not a small guy to make 220.
No.
So
that's the thing is at that time I was cutting from almost 240 and it was hard for me to make that cut. And I took a like I'll have to send you the pictures. I have a picture with Dan, me and Brandon do, and I just remember how much bigger that he was than me, and I was just like, how the f does he make 220?
His cut is well, I know Stan helps him with his cut.
Yeah.
But it's honestly don't do this at home. Don't do this ever.
No.
Don't do this ever. Just don't do this.
Yeah, don't do this unless you're Dan Green.
Don't do this. Yeah, just literally don't do this. So that was just crazy, just what you could put the body through.
Yeah.
And he ended up like down the road he got hurt, but he came back and it's like nothing happened.
Yeah, he just pulled
nothing happened.
He just pulled like 800
conventional
for a triple off of a deficit. It's beltless,
big deficit.
Like last week.
Big deficit.
Yeah, it's like a 10-inch deficit.
Dude, I remember I went to I think it was his first seminar at Boss Barbell, and I was talking to him about my back. I was actually hurt when I went there. And he was just telling me, like, things to do and this and that. And it really, it made me feel way better about my situation, especially because I was so young at the time. And to hear someone like that, tell me, you could get through it. I've been through it, and you could get through it. That's why, I try to give that to my people. It's like, look, man, I've been through the worst back injury, right? I've popped a disc and then popped it open. You know what I mean? I had to say I couldn't sit in a chair. I had to drop out of school because I couldn't sit because of I had to put my left leg behind me, otherwise I couldn't sit in a chair. And it was just like, the body. I'm telling you, the body can heal through some crazy shit. You know what I mean? And I don't know. I think lifting literally makes you stronger. Like it literally
All
makes you
around.
stronger everywhere. Like not just
Yeah.
in physically, but like mentally, your character, you know, everything. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. 100%.
those are those are good times, man.
Yeah. And then let me see. So yeah, going back to
The
the
shoes.
the heeled. Yeah. So let's see. I done actually I done Metro was my first meet in heels. Metro, then
That was against
slow,
Brandon,
then
right?
Metro. No, Metro was no Brandon. I did state like 6 months before, so it was Metro, slow, San Luis Obispo, then Fit Expo. Then I had done, and then that was it for those shoes. Then I had got a pair of Ristos. Ristos are the wooden shoes, right? Yeah. So I got a pair of Ristos,
Expensive.
and expensive, yeah. Then I had done that LA Open, the athletics, the one you did, and then
I
I
went. I
think,
was a 198 back then. This was like. This
oh
was like.
man,
This was like
that's
4 years
crazy.
ago.
Yeah,
I remember
yeah,
that meet.
yeah.
Oh my
That was
god.
that. That was where I went up against Joe Hardy.
Joe's a beast, man.
Yeah, Joe's a
I
beast.
think he's coming back. I think word on the street. I could literally just ask him.
Yeah,
But
no, I've been going back and forth with him over the last couple of weeks.
he's. I mean, he'll go in and out of social media, but while he's
Yeah,
there, I think he told Tina that he wanted to do her competition that's coming up in March.
yeah.
I think it's March 31. So that would be sick to see him there.
He actually told me he was thinking about. He's been looking into moving out here.
He told me that too, but he said he needs
Yeah,
a roommate. So we got to figure that out. But
yeah.
he's a good dude. I mean, my interactions with him have
Really good
always
dude.
been great, and
Yeah.
I enjoy his personality. But San Luis Obispo was funny because we both did that. So I did my first meet, and
Yeah.
you did that one too. I don't
Yeah.
know. So I did San Luis Obispo because I had a lot of technical issues. I mean, this is like my first meet ever, so I was like, okay, I need to clean this up, whatever. And I wanted to do one right after. Um, what made you what made you want to do San Luis Obispo after having competed? Like I think we literally competed like 6 weeks or four
Four,
weeks before.
it was. I think it was under four. It might have been even 3 weeks. So it was two things. My first meet, 1592 total. Second meet, 1763, with no cut. Well, the first one I cut like 8 pounds. I literally just didn't have any carbs for a few days. It was easy. Second meet, I literally just wanted to compete against Brandon, just so we could just do this. I was like, I don't feel like cutting. I like pizza, and I just want to go heads up with Brandon.
Yeah.
So 1763. Then I did that Metroflex meet, and that was the first water cut I'd ever done. And I'd cut probably about 12 to 15 pounds. And I remember it came down to like I was in the parking lot, didn't make weight by like 2 pounds or a pound and a half or something. I literally went to my car. I remember it was already hot. I went to my
It's
car.
hot as fuck over there.
Yeah.
Oh my
I
god.
went I went to my car, turned the heater on full blast with like two sweaters on, and then went on the treadmill, walked it out. And so that was my
Dude,
first water cut.
I've literally, I don't know what it is about Tina's car, but you just park that bitch in the sun. You don't have to turn the heat on. Just close the
It's because
door.
it's gold.
Just close the door and put your
Just
sweater on and sit.
absorbs.
And I would just sit
Yeah.
there, and you just sweat. And actually, you make weight a little early, and then I would eat like a Twinkie because it's got hella salt and carb, but it
Yeah.
weighs nothing. So once you add
Yeah.
that water, you just blow up. Um,
Oof.
but
Yeah.
yeah,
So,
24 hour away and you could die. You could
yeah.
you could push yourself
Yeah.
to get there.
Yeah. So I had done that. Then I was planning on hitting an 1800 total there. So I had regressed as a lifter because I had a pretty bad meet at Metro, and I was just like, man, fuck this. Like I got, and also
So you
my,
basically were
those
unhappy and you wanted to fix it.
Yeah, yeah, and on top of that, like I was still not. I mean, that was my third meet, and I still didn't know weight selection, number
Yeah,
selection.
yeah, yeah.
So like I fucked myself, and so I was just like, let's be smarter about it. Slow's coming up in a month. At the time, I had a friend that lived in San Luis Obispo. I was like, I've never been to San Luis Obispo. It was actually more for me just to take a little vacation. And I was like, while I'm here, I'm going to try this out. And that was why I did slow. It was to improve a little bit, to get a little more experience, and then mostly just to have fun in San Luis Obispo.
Yeah, there it is, man. Yeah, now, regardless of what happens, I won't compete. Like, I'll compete like twice a year.
Yeah. Yes.
I might compete.
100%.
I might compete once next year, but we'll see. It just takes longer to get stronger. Like
it does.
as years go on. I'm not like I feel like for girls, they just I don't know, they just keep getting better. But for us, it's like you really have to, and you're dealing with. And once you get to a certain point, injury is always kind of like, it's like looking for a spot to kind of poke its head. It's like, am I gonna get him here? Am I gonna get him there? I think every prep I have something that's a little annoying that I have to kind of watch, but it's like I could just go into a meet and have no injury and not even no tendonitis, nothing, but I'm probably not gonna do as well as I would have had I know I need to bench 3 times a week in order for my bench to be up there. It's literally like if I bench twice a week, I'm gonna bench around 440. If I bench 3 times a week, it's gonna be around 460. It's 460ish. You know what I mean? So it's like that's just for my bench. My squat, I'm getting away with once a week. And speaking of, actually, your split what's your split like when you're prepping versus like right now? Well, right now is like kind of a different scenario, but like when you're healthy right now, you know what I mean?
So when I'm prepping, generally it's, normally it used to be for some time it was squat once, deadlift once, bench once, and then like an accessory day. Then it went to squat once, deadlift once, bench twice, and the second bench was generally more heavier accessory. Now that I've been working with Chad the last twice over the last year, it's in the volume phase. It's squat twice, deadlift once, bench twice. So it's over 5 days. Then from there we go. Once we start hitting the strength phase. So this last prep I did an 8-week volume. I did 2 weeks on my own, so 10 weeks volume. Then 4 weeks of strength, 4 weeks of peaking. From strength to peaking, it was basically squat. You're squatting and you're deadlifting twice, but it's basically a squat, deadlift accessory technique, deadlift, squat accessory technique. More like just keeping the technique intact.
Yeah.
Then bench twice.
Yeah. So I might play with dialing bench back to 2 times because I am way smaller than I was last year at this time, like literally by 20 pounds. So it's like, and I have seen like with most people, the leaner you are relative. So if you got strong and you were fat, right, or heavier, and you lose weight, you're like, it's gonna take a while for everything to kind of adjust, and that's when you're like very susceptible to injury. Whereas like if you've always been lean like your whole life and you got strong, you'll be fine. Like it's weird. It's weird, and so I'm just not used to. Like I'm used to holding that big weight in my hands, but I have more range of motion because your stomach is smaller. You know what I mean? And everything just kind of hurts. So adjusting the split, might be something that I'm looking into. But for me, leading into meets, I would prefer 2 times squat, 1 time deadlift, 3 time bench, and one of those squat days is like a serious, low bar day, and then the other day is like you're just getting work in to keep it moving, get that muscle protein synthesis. But yeah, man, it's just what like at this stage, how many years have you been powerlifting?
5.
Yeah, so
sorry. Well, no, shit.
6. I think it's like should be like 5, 6.
Yeah, I think it's
powerlifting specifically, but how many years have you been just lifting in general?
Let's see. If you count high school, then let's see, 17 years.
And while you've been doing that, did you ever take like
18 years?
Have you? So meaning like you didn't take a month off anywhere in there. You just literally for the last 18 years you've been training.
No, I did because in high school it was you train around your season.
Yeah.
I wrestled. I threw shot put and discus, and I played football. So at certain times, especially wrestling, you didn't do any lifting. It was just all body weight, stuff. And then probably but if you don't count high school, like generally when I started training on my own, when I didn't have anybody telling me what to do was when I was 18. So in that case, it would be, let's see, 14 years. So basically from high school to college, I went for some summer football because I thought I was gonna play college ball. I just kind of realized it wasn't my thing anymore. So then there was maybe a 3 to 6 month period where I would just kind of randomly go, but it wasn't much of anything. Then I was just like, you know what, like getting fat. I don't know what the hell's going on with my body. Like I miss training. Like I'm just gonna get to it. So then I went to bodybuilding training, and then that period of time.
That was when you got out, right? Got out of school.
Yeah, that was when I got out of school. Well, no, that was when high school to college. So then from there, in that period of time, I've had one direct month where I took an exact month off because at the time I was studying. It was between me getting off of a bodybuilding diet and doing my next powerlifting meet, and I was taking a really big fire department test. So I literally was like, I'm just going to study this entire month, going to celebrate with food, I'm going to relax and live life for a little bit.
There you go, man. How many people do you know from school that like did sports and they stopped and they got hella fat?
All.
Like like all of them. Like all of them, dude.
9.8%.
Dude, honestly, like a lot of the dudes specifically, they just like they let themselves go and they just get super fat. But a lot of the chicks that I know, believe it or not, like they get into the gym, man. Like they I don't know what it is about this whole Fitspo thing, but like it's getting girls to go to the gym even if they're doing like stupid shit. They're doing something. They're training. Yeah, like I think it's so cool that you have Lena doing squat, bench, deadlift. Like I think that is like the best thing. Like literally that just makes me so happy when I come in and I'm like, seeing her do it, and then when she'll post, she'll like talk about, like she cares about it. She's like, oh, this felt 100%. Shitty or this felt good or whatever. So it's like, oh, that's like, it's I think honestly, like people talk shit about social media and but it is making like lifting more aware to like more people. So I think overall is like making people healthier. It's definitely like a positive thing there. So you've been lifting a really long time, and basically, dodging injury becomes like one of, like, I guess in the beginning when you're young and durable, like injuries like here and like your gains are this big, right? And then over time, it kind of like the progress you make will kind of diminish slowly,
right?
And then your chance for injury will go higher. Like imagine, I was telling Russell this. He recently, I don't know what he did to his back. It was like a strain or a pop or something, but he got through it and he's good now. Like we're building back up, everything's fine. And I told him like you have like 600 plus pounds on your back like almost 3 times a week, and I'm sure that you've never been doing that like at any point in your life. And I tell John the same thing. Like when you get to that level, it's like the weight could fuck you up, so you have to be careful. And 100%. It's usually like when you're pulling a deadlift and you don't brace, or maybe you're just repping it. You're just repping it and like something happens, or so we're just making sure that even with me, I have to be so careful. Like if I deadlift more, it's weird. Like if I deadlift more frequently, I'm like more durable. And then if I take time between my deadlifts, that durability will kind of carry over and I'll feel good. But if I do it for too long, you'll get to a point where like after nationals, I didn't deadlift for like, I don't even know. I just let everything kind of cool off. So then getting back into it is like really rough. So I'm actually coming in to pull today. So hopefully I don't, snap some shit up, but maybe I'll use the Texas power bar instead, get a little bit of slack, a little bit extra slack. It's like so minimal extra slack than the Ohio bar, but it's like, I feel like
I do actually want to get an Ohio deadlift bar in here because it's even less slack, but it's like in between.
Is it the silver one?
Yes.
It looks really nice. Like the metal looks very high quality.
Oh, it's super nice, but it's like a cheese grater to your hands.
It'll fuck you up, yeah.
Oh, it'll fuck you up. I literally before my first attempt, Record Breakers, I was super gluing my fingers together before I went out there to deadlift.
And then it'll just cut right. It'll just cut right.
It just cut right
yeah.
through it again. I had to keep super gluing my fingers together.
Because I know your hands, like literally every meet I've seen you at hand tears. So
yeah.
So
when I used to train at Metro, especially during the summer because it was so hot and humid, I literally every week I would tear a callus completely off. It was terrible. I'd bleed everywhere.
Yeah, man. So for us, we just gotta stay safe, keep training,
Yeah.
and it's gonna come. That's like
100%.
really where it's at, and it keeps things, simple. And then I think, you could kind of expand on this if you want. But I should probably do a video on this. When you get hurt, your goals, like you still attack your rehab, and like the same way that you would attack training. So it's like, all right, I'm not squatting heavy today because I hurt whatever. But I'm going to do hip thrusts, I'm going to do, hyperextension, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do, belt squat. And, like, you still have the same kind of, like, relentless tenacity towards training, but it's just going towards, like, even if you're squatting 135, like, today, that's all as high as you're going to go, like, you just, and I think that helps a lot with mentality because when we can't lift because we're hurt, we're like, I'm lost. Like, what do I like? I just feel like you could have everything else in your life going well, but if you just can't lift because we really care about it, we're really lifters.
Yeah.
We're not getting that stimulation. We're not getting that fulfillment, from training. So we just kind of feel shitty. But when you get older and wiser, you start to understand that like injuries are just temporary. You know what I mean? Like they're gonna come and they're gonna go. That's why, when I was younger I used to make a big ass deal about every injury, but now it's just like I've come back from every single injury. Every single injury I thought I wasn't gonna come back from. My knee, my back was like really painful, but my knee was so bad, dude. I just got the PRP shots and I took the 10 days off and I switched to flats and everything kind of took care of itself, and it's just like, that's when like nothing is going to keep me out. Nothing is going to keep me out as long as I don't, don't be dumb. Like, I've heard stories of guys like shattering, like cracking their their vertebrae, like just hitting each other and breaking and shit. Crazy shit. Like, it's usually like wrapped. It's usually like wrapped, or they're yanking the fuck out of a deadlift bar or something, like just doing stupid shit. But, use common sense.
Reckless.
Listen to your body, and I think, and you'll get through it. Like, kind of piggybacking off of that, are you, like, what are you dealing with now? I know your back's been irritating you, and, like, kind of what have you done to make it feel better?
Right now, I have almost like I don't know if it's a QL. It's like almost like my sciatic a little bit. And it's a little bit of that. And then also when I've been squatting, it's almost like in my groin, not like my groin, somewhat of my groin. I guess it's called like it's basically your inguinal area. It's kind of like where your
there's like a big band that goes from like your pelvis all the way down the inside of your leg down to like your I think that's, I forget the name of it, but could be that.
Yeah.
Right
So basically, like when I come up, it just it gets tight when I squat, and like it feels like I have to like let it release. And it's just like stiff. So basically what I've been doing is there's a guy who does like kinesio massage here. So he's been working on me once a week. I'm just kind of playing with what my body's telling me at the time. So it's been things like just some corrective exercises, not stretching as much, a little bit here and there, things, and also it's working around the injury. So doing what I can do that day. So if it's deadlift, like today, I might take off a deadlift. So what I do, I'll simulate a deadlift either by, that row machine that we have, the one that it's adjustable. It's like a T. It's like a T-bar
by the front.
Yeah. So it's right next to the lying T-bar row. It's the one where you can it's a plate loaded. It's like where you can either do shrugs. A lot of people do shrugs.
Oh, it's like the shrug machine kind. You put the plates on it and you go like that. Yeah. So you could kind of deadlift with that.
Yeah, so that one I set it really low. I do a deadlift variation,
Do we have a hex bar?
We do. Yeah, trap bar.
Okay, I
knew
it. I knew we had it.
Yeah, we got two of them.
You know, we gotta
Yeah.
get this side note, but I don't know how Brandon feels about this, but I guarantee you people would use it all the time. If we, so it might die. If we got an inversion table for the gym, dude, just put it in the bag, dude. I'm
I thought about
serious.
that.
I'm
Yeah.
serious. Like,
no, I thought about that. Yeah, that's probably gonna be what I'm gonna be looking for on Craigslist.
it's cheap, man. It's cheap. It's like 50, 100, you know.
Yeah. Oh shit! I'll just buy it for the gym.
There you go.
But anyway, like on top of that, like I've been doing some single arm farmers walks, some planks, some reverse hyper, and just stuff like that. And like
it's
I said,
it's
also
a lot of like oblique, like core stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and it's very light. It's not like I'm going like for max poundage or something. It's like literally a plate on each side. Belt squat stuff. Basically, like every now and then, if it's not feeling right, I just won't even push it. I won't squat or I won't deadlift. I'll still do some stuff to simulate the movement, but I'm also like the belt squat. But I'm also training around the injury and just building up my muscle bellies, like my quads and my hamstrings.
Very key point here is that you're not just doing nothing. You're still keeping the body moving. You're still strong. You're stimulating blood flow, but you're just doing what you can around what's bothering you. I think that's literally going to save you so much. Like you're going to avoid like so much setback from. Yeah. 100%. You'd be surprised what you could keep. I remember Leanna, when she was out here, I was something was wrong with her. She wasn't benching, and she was just doing a lot of dumbbell pressing. She does like a single dumbbell press too, and then her bench was like she pretty much didn't lose anything, and it was like it might take a week to get used to the movement again, but you'd be surprised like what you can keep if you can just keep going. You know what I mean? Even if you can't deadlift, like train back. If you could train back, keep it real strong. It's all connected. So that's useful.
This past training for record breakers, my best bench prior to this past meet was 473, I think it is, or 472, and I hit a 501 at this past meet with 6 weeks off of benching, and it was literally from dumbbell pressing in a range of motion that was comfortable for my pec and not putting anything on my tricep, the chest press.
I remember that. I rember going into that meet, you kept saying how your tricep was fucked up.
Yeah, and literally it was all the bodybuilding movements that were building those surrounding areas. My back, my delts, my triceps, the little bit of tricep movement I could do, and mainly pec movement. You know what I mean? So for anybody out there that gets discouraged with injury, don't focus on what you can't do. Focus on what you can do.
And don't even like. This is another thing I wanted to talk about in a video, but we're doing it now. When you lifting should never make you give you negative feelings. It should always be either neutral or positive. Meaning, if you go into the gym and you're not strong one day because you have a bunch of fatigue built up, just do what you can, get out and lift to fight another day. If you go into the gym and you end up getting hurt or whatever, okay, cool. So, me, for example, I was there, I don't know, 2-3 weeks ago. I think I was telling you about this. I was doing fucking 425 on deadlift, man. Light. I wasn't even going crazy or anything. And I strained the left side of my lumbar, so QL, right? So I strained it, and it was fucking pain. In the moment, it wasn't that bad because you're hot, but the next day, any movement, you're like, oh shit. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm supposed to high bar today. I'm gonna move it another day, and I'm gonna go lighter. And then by Monday, I'll be able to keep my squats going. And boom, it's like I didn't miss a beat. It's like you learn to identify. Okay, soft tissue. This is a muscular thing that's gonna be 2-3 days. It won't be gone completely, but you could pretty much train normal, right? And then when you have tendonitis, it feels kind of sharp and needly. That's all right. That's an overuse thing. So you should probably drop it down to once a week, let it heal, and it'll go away, right? Boom, and your mind just goes from okay, what's the threat? This is the threat. Okay, this is a solution. Boom, just do that. And like I said, you're taking that same approach to training. You're just moving it towards your recovery. And also, you said you had a bodybuilding background. Maybe Like you actually competed. Did you actually compete?
No, I've got down
But
to
you got
probably
lean, yeah.
within, yeah, I got down within about 4 to 6 weeks out from a show, and then and it was mostly that first diet was basically to see what my weaknesses were as a bodybuilder, and also just because I'd never been down to like that low of a body fat. So I was like, for one, I want to see what this process entails. I want to see how I feel. You know, I want to see how I can integrate it into my life. And then B, it was like, as a bodybuilder, if I was to jump up on stage in the next 4 to 6 weeks, what do I need to, what needs the most work? Because I'd never been that lean. So muscles that I thought were strengths turned out to be weaker than I expected. Weaknesses that I thought, it's like, my arms in general, I don't feel like they don't look ginormous because I have a long bicep like head. But I mean, they're not small, but in general, like compared to the rest of my body with my delts, my pecs, they look a little smaller. So when I got pretty lean, I was like, actually, my arms don't look half bad, So that was kind of what that was for. The second time around, I was actually in the process of getting ready for a show, and just at the time, the amount of work I was doing, the amount of it just didn't fit my lifestyle. I was like, if I'm already feeling this terrible, being another 8 weeks out, like I will not be able to function the next 8 weeks in what at the time is what I need to do, which was customer service. And at the time was also as a apprentice or reserve firefighter. I was like, if I have to worry about like having enough energy to make it through the day, how am I gonna like make it through a fire or make it through
Yeah, definitely. Firefighting and bodybuilding, they don't go hand in hand. But
not usually. No.
The reason why I brought up bodybuilding is because people that have that bodybuilding background. I mean, I never competed, but I always train. I used to train 7 days a week, and we hit I would have a day where I'd go in and hit hamstrings, calves, and fucking abs. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You train consistently, and you just get used to it, and you work on so many little spots. Like you make your body complete, and then when you transition into powerlifting, you just like. You don't get hurt, as much as you would have had you had done nothing.
Yeah, you definitely prolong it.
Yeah, and that's why a lot of these guys that do little bodybuilding stuff on top of their powerlifting. I think it's such a simple concept. Like you hit the main movement and then you train the muscles associated with it. This is like such a. It's like such a I'll hit my flat bench, I'll do my close grip to work both sides, and then I'll go do some shoulders and triceps. Because you just want to reinforce that area, give it a little bit extra attention, and any little extra muscle you can add on is gonna not only help you lift more, but keep you safe, make you more stable. If you could build your back, I think if you can build your back, it's gonna help literally every other lift. Like
everything.
A big back is gonna help you. Big shelf on squat, big big stability on bench, and obviously deadlift. Like you're gonna keep yourself safe. So completing the organism is gonna help us kind of not get hurt. But again, then you kind of go through that phase where you're so strong relative to where you were. You have to be careful, like with injury, just because like you're lifting when you're in prep, you're over 600 pounds. Like how many times a week?
I mean, it's
like
twice a week.
Yeah.
It's twice a week. I mean,
sometimes over 7. Sometimes over 7.
Yeah, it's twice a week for squat. Yeah, but I mean, in general, I think there was a 6x5 or a 5x6 week twice that week, and they were both over 600 pounds the whole.
My bones hurt. My bones hurt from just doing the volume that I do now. Sometimes, you know what I mean, just in my shins.
Yeah.
But I have like a long femur. I mean, long-ish femur compared to my shin. People say I have nubs for legs. That's the only reason why anybody has gains is because they're leverage, right? They're like, hey, you only squat so much because you have short legs, and it's like, all right, well, you do it.
I tell people that. I mean, they're like, why are your legs big? I'm like, they're just short. That's all it is. They don't have anywhere to go except sideways, except left to right.
Do you have a favorite performance of yours that you can kind of look back on and say, you know what, like, I'm really fucking proud of what I did, and I'm like, if I had to go out today, I'd be content?
I would say it's pretty much a tie, probably because of the stage of it. was either the Fit Expo, that Fit
That
Expo.
Fit Expo was a very. I mean, Brandon Lilly got hurt. That was Dan
Yeah,
Green's big performance at USPA, and it was at LA, your hometown. You know
yeah,
what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like, so fucking, I was there. Come on, I was there.
yeah,
Jesse was
yeah.
there, I think.
Right,
Grant was
right.
there, I think. Dude, that was a
Yeah.
crazy ass meet. So I totally understand that one.
Yeah, so that it was probably between that and then about a year and a half later when I did the state at the what was it? It was 2014 or 2015 USPA states with I had done it with Adam and that one was my last. It was like my second or third last meet, 242, but it was like my best performance at 242. Yeah.
So you prefer that performance over your recent one at 275?
Yes, just because my deadlift fell so short of what I know I'm capable of, and I mean, part of it
At
was
this recent one.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, because I expected 858 and nothing short, and my training said 858.
You were on
It
track,
was
dude.
just
All right, real quick. I totally relate to that because, I mean, obviously not those numbers, but you hit the 8, you bench the
yeah,
5. So
yep,
so I have a big squat, you have a big bench, and you're coming in a deadlift, and you just got to hit that third deadlift. You just got to hit that third deadlift, and everything will be. It would have been fucking 2100, 21 something, whatever.
yeah.
You know,
Nine for nine,
perfect.
which I've never done.
But you missed that one fucking third deadlift, and you have this
Yeah,
big dent in your total in your attempts, and it's just like this last nationals. Great, the team competed. We fucked shit up. Excellent. You know, everybody did their job. Everybody's done lifting. It's my turn to lift now. You know, I
yeah,
hit a smooth squat, still a PR at 231, mind you. Given I had to cut 1,000 pounds and kill myself all week. I threw up a conservative, 435 bench. That's the lowest I've benched in forever. But I was like, you know what? I just want to get through the meet. I don't even care, right? Come into deadlift, and I hit my first 2 attempts, and I go like 562, or 573, and then like 600 or something, or maybe it was like
right.
568, 600. Right, so I got my qualification for the Arnold with that, and then I'm like, I'm gonna jump fucking to 640. This will be every deadlift I've ever done on a deadlift bar. This will give me a PR total at this weight. And if I miss it, I still have the qualification for the Arnold, which was the goal.
Right.
And I lock it out. And you know how my deadlift is 50-50, but it's like, and even when I contested, I went to the jury. One of them was like, "Oh, I thought it was good," but the other two, they said, "I was on the fence," and it has to be unanimously like 100% good. So I mean, I wasn't even like I've already like I will never go off on a ref for like a bad call. I'll
Yeah,
just what, like fuck it, like I gotta get better. I gotta make it look cleaner. I understand that for my body type, my deadlift is always gonna be iffy around that point, but it's like looking back, like the human part of me is really disappointed in myself, and it sucks that you have that one dent. You have that one.
it does.
You're like like fuck, you know what I mean? But I have a chance in 3 weeks to make up for it, and
Yeah,
we'll give it our best. Every day counts, big time from here out. So I feel you, man. Since we're on that, for me, last year's Arnold, that was my best meet. That was the meet where I kind of,
yeah.
you know,
That was an awesome performance.
800 kg, a little low me. I never thought I would squat that weight or bench. I mean, that's like a typical bench for me, but I had a good meet, and it was a really fun time, and I just remember walking out. Like, I don't know if you have any experiences like this, but I remember walking out 666. The bar is bending more than I've never had that weight on my back, so I've never felt the bar bend like that, and I was like, oh shit, like. I was like, but I felt like I got this. Like, I got this. My training's
Yeah,
on point. Everything's good. Like, I got this weight. Like,
yeah,
like I'm gonna hit this right now. And I just remember, coming down, like going into the hole. Not like you're all rested. You don't feel any pain. Nothing hurts, and you just step right up from it. A little sticky. Step right up, and everything's good. 666. Number of the beast, whatever. Rack it in, and you're like, it's like. That's what it's about, man. Like, meet day should be, you hit that 800 because your training was so good, and you probably felt like the same way. Like, oh, I got this, man. Like, I'm gonna
yeah,
blow this weight up, and then after that, it's like it makes. when you get shit done in training, it makes meet day like just fun.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like you're getting paid. It's like I put in all this work, and I'm finally gonna get my paycheck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
100%. Yeah. It's
it's
like it wasn't in vain.
yeah,
You're like,
yeah.
oh, cool.
So I mean, and then so that mean I did get my third deadlift, although it was 2 whites to 1 red, and I'm okay. I'm okay with that. Like
Yeah.
I got it. I felt so relieved after because you never know what's gonna happen with the third and strict stage and everything. So it's a very like just like we got it. Like you cross the finish line, because a meet is like people think it's 1 day. It's like 20 weeks,
Yeah, it is not 1 day.
Yeah, it's. And this is another thing that this could be a video in its own. But do you know who Jordan Peterson is?
I don't.
He is he's a professor in Canada. He's a really smart guy, and he's known for like slaying SJWs. Right? Let's just say that.
Okay.
That's like his thing. Right?
I probably know.
He's been on Joe Rogan. He's been on Joe Rogan twice recently too.
I've heard of him.
If you see him, you'll know. But basically, he said something in a different podcast that I always try to relate everything to lifting and see how I can like translate it to people. And he said, in a relationship between a man and their wife, right? They're typically they're miserable every day. They're miserable after you've been married for X amount of reels, whatever, and they look forward to like a vacation or just people in general. That's how they are, right? They hate their day-to-day life and they look forward to the vacation. So for us, you have training, which is your everyday life, and then you have the meet, right? And his perspective was if you are always looking forward to the next vacation, then you probably need to your life sucks because you're gonna be on vacation how many days out of your life, like nothing, right? Like how many times are we gonna compete, like 10 20 times maybe in our entire life? That's 10 20 days out of your entire life. How many days are we gonna spend training? Thousands, thousands of days, you know what I mean, training. So I think we should enjoy the day-to-day, enjoy the off-season, enjoy the prep, and it's a cycle. When you're in prep, you miss off-season. When you're in off-season, you miss prep. And it's like, do you look forward to training every day? I do. I mean, I love going to training.
I was actually going to say, like, I can almost not relate with that because for me, I've always looked at a meet as like, I can't wait till I have new training numbers.
Yeah, like after the meet's done, you want to train again, right? Yeah. So,
I can't wait. I can't wait to get into training and to be in the sweet spot of a strength phase. And the volume, it's I don't love it, but it's necessary.
But you feel accomplished when you do it. Like I'm getting better, and this shit's kicking my ass. You know what I mean?
Because then I'll look at old videos where I'm like, man, I remember the first time I hit 405, I hit it for a double. And then now I'm like,
you hit that shit for 25.
Fuck, yeah. I hit like 465 for a double, like 3-4 months ago, like on bench, yeah.
So basically, like, if you have to love the day-to-day grind, the day-to-day, going to practice, going to training, hitting your numbers, and just like enjoying the process of training, and then that makes like. Sometimes I've gone into meets like, fuck, I want to get this over with. I just want to compete already. I just want to compete already. For like sure. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to get it done. And then we get back to training. But if you have your day-to-day life in order, so if you love your training, if you have the passion for it, then everything else just kind of like you don't even need to really compete. You don't even really need to go on vacation. That's why we're kind of content with like competing once or twice a year. It's not like I had a guy in the gym. I swear to God, 2 nights ago when I was there. I swear to God, I had a kid come up to me. No, it was on Monday, so 3 nights ago. I think you might know who it is. And he said, Joey, I competed 10 times the first year I started lifting. He said I competed 10 times. I kid you not. I'm not making this up. 100%. And I just couldn't believe that because it's like it's so. He wanted to go on vacation all the time. He wanted to be on vacation all the time. You know what I mean? It's like you gotta love training. You gotta get your day to day, down and like it just makes meet day. When you love your training, you knock your training out. Meet day becomes like automatic. You don't have to think. Yeah. You just go out there, fucking blow shit up.
Yeah. That's 100% what it is. Like, yeah, you have to love the process, and that's probably what I think has always attracted me to powerlifting the most. Once I started getting into it, was I like the grind. I embrace the grind of it because it tests who's mentally stronger in the long run.
Yes.
I mean, I know plenty of guys who I got started with who were burnt out.
I'm glad you brought this up because
yeah,
when we kind of got into it, it was kind of it was like right before the wave, and then the wave hit, and now it's like who's left?
Yeah.
I mean, there's more people now than ever before, but a lot of those older guys, like I had a guy recently send me it was a picture of some guy's Instagram, and he'd be like, "Joey, remember this guy?" And I was like, "Damn, I do remember that guy. I don't even know if he lifts anymore." You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
and yeah, that's the biggest thing of it is like
this sport will test you. It will say, "Are you really here for this? And is this really what you want?" Because if you don't, like, you know, you in for a world of hurt, brother.
Yeah. And I would say on average at about, I mean, who knows, depending on, you know, obviously like where you started your career, where you are now, and like how old you are and stuff like that. But, you know, how many miles you have on you. But, you know, I would say average probably about 2 years, anywhere between a year to 2 years is where it starts to test those who really love it and those who are just in it for something else. And at that point, you'll really know if you're doing this for Instagram, for YouTube. You'll know, like, because it gets shitty and it'll get shitty for a while. And you have to be like, do I really love this? Because this feels really shitty. Do I really want to put myself mentally and physically through this? And, I think
we're at the point where, like we know how to cope with the shit.
Oh yeah,
100%. And I want to give that to every young lifter watching this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
be patient.
It's temporary. Just like an injury, it's temporary. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not. You know, if you're not strong one day, if you go into the gym and you're constantly, you know, beating yourself up because you're not peaked, which literally, like, it blows my mind because, like, I'm not ever strong until meet day. I am not going to be strong until meet day. I'm strong, you know, like, relative to humans, like normal people, but, like, you know, like 620, 630, that's not what I consider strong for me. Like, I want to hit more than that, you know. I want 650, 660, 670. So it's like, and you're the same way. Like, you're not going to hit 800 in the gym, you know, really ever too often.
No.
Like,
no.
If there are times after a meet when you're kind of strong, you know, you might be your peak kind of lasts a little bit, but right. You know, there's I'm not the type of lifter, you know, that's going to hit a PR in bench ever unless I plan for it. I will. I mean, maybe on reps, you know, but that's just because I'm at this stage of my lifting career. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I'm not if I'm bulking, I'll fucking hit PRs like left and right. But I'm not. You know, I'm just chilling where I'm at, and it's a tedious thing, but I love it. I love to, like, hell yeah, dude! I get to try for 5 more pounds after you know 4 months of training at this next meet. I'm fucking happy to try that. Like, if I get
right,
because I think it's because, like, you're at a point where, like, your numbers are already so high relative to where you started that any little PR is like, so if I bench 468, which is only 5 pounds, which I could have probably done like twice already, but I was being safe because I don't want to fuck up. If I could hit that lift, I will be fucking so stupidly ecstatic. It is, you know, like when Gronk hits a touchdown and he fucking throws the ball on the ground? Like, that's how take my fucking belt up and throw that shit at the ref.
Yeah. And that was me. I think probably over the last year and a half, 2 years, it was like 5 pound to 5 pound to 5 pound. And trust me, guys, this 30-pound thing is not, you know, it is not. It's
not gonna always
at
be
all.
There. You can have
and I don't.
It'll last, but it comes to a point where, like,
it's not the norm. Like even for me, I was like, where the fuck did this come from? But then, like, when I broke apart my training from, you know, a year ago, I was like, oh, okay, what are the 2 things that changed in me over this year? Well, I dedicated myself to not cut, so I've been over 250.
Yep. That'll automatically help you improve.
Yeah, 260 to 270 over this past year, and probably 8 out of 12 months have been dedicated to volume. You know what I mean? Dedicated to building my leverages and you know, just getting bigger and leaner. You know what I mean? So filling out my class, you know, and being a better body composition, but just in general, taking the time off of heavy stuff and just treating it like a bodybuilder, you know, still always having my eyes on progression of weight, but yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, that another great topic, man. Just, you're going to get to a point where you got to scratch and claw for the little wins, and you really appreciate those wins because you had to put in a lot to get it.
Yeah.
So it's about 12:50. Got to take Tina to the airport soon, so we'll go about another 20 minutes. I have favorite.
I could probably fit in another 5. I think I'm.
Oh, 5.
I'm
Okay.
being paged
Right.
for work.
No worries. Really quick, favorite superhero?
Okay. Probably the Incredible Hulk.
You could pick. Okay, you could pick like more than one if there's a tie. Hulk.
I mean, Marvel, Incredible Hulk, DC, probably Superman, just based off of strength.
Boom.
And that was only for the reason of ever since I was a kid, I've always been attracted to strength and size.
Yes.
And I remember whenever I would play video games, I would always pick
The Big Jack's
like
character.
the Berserker, or like the heavy weapons guy, or you know,
There
just
you go.
whoever was the big guy. That was me.
Are you excited for Black Panther?
Yeah. I think we're already like talking about having like we're setting up like a fucking viewing party for
There
all
we
of us
go,
to
man.
go and watch it. Yeah.
Who is dying in Infinity War?
Whew. I'm still going with Tony Stark. I'm going Tony Stark
Man,
because it's gonna hit you in the nuts probably the hardest. So I'm going Tony Stark.
All right, man. Well, thank you very much for coming on, guys. Mason
Yeah.
Cervantes, great friend of mine. Guys, let me know in the comments below. Who do you think is getting ousted? Who's getting the axe in Infinity
Yes.
War? Let me know down below. I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Thank you so much, Mason. I'll see you later today.
Of course, man. Thank you, brother. We'll see you soon.